Hello everyone, my name is Daryl. I work as a software developer, and in this video you'll see how I naturally work through a LeetCode challenge. This is a problem that I'm seeing for the first time, and I'll explain myself as I work through it. My solution won't likely be the best or most efficient, it'll just be the one I come up with first as I'm working through the problem. So today we're going to be doing another database problem, and apparently this one you can only do as MySQL. So obviously I usually do these problems as Microsoft SQL, but this one only allows MySQL, so I'm going to kind of write it out as if it was MS SQL, and then because I know most of the syntax is the same, and then if I have to correct syntax, I will do a little bit of Googling off camera just to see how I need to change the syntax. But anyways, this is listed as an easy problem, delete duplicate emails. So we have a person table with an ID and email, int and varchar. ID is a primary key. Each row of this table contains an email. Emails will not contain uppercase letters. Or a SQL query to delete all duplicate emails, keeping only one unique email with the smallest ID. Note that you're supposed to write a delete statement and not a select one. Return the result table in any order. The query format is in the following example. So I find it interesting that we're using a delete statement and they want an output as a table, but I'm assuming that you just write the delete statement and then it'll automatically select the resulting data left in the table. Okay, so deleting from person where ID is in, and here we're going to write a inner select statement. We're basically going to select all the IDs that we want to delete. So we're going to select ID from person P. We're going to inner join. We're going to join on the table again. Person P2 on P dot. So we want the IDs to not match, and we want the emails to match. We want to have this where ID is not equal to, this is going to be a small inner query, which is select min ID from person P3 where P3 dot email is equal to P dot email. So once again, I don't know if this syntax is correct. This would work for MS SQL. Let me just run the code and see if I get a syntax error. Okay, let's see. Column ID in field list is ambiguous. Oh, you're right. Let's do PID. ID in the where clause is ambiguous, where p.id can't specify target table person for update in from clause. Apparently in MySQL it doesn't like when you're changing values in a table and you have a select statement in like its where clause. It's like you're modifying this table and selecting from this table in its where clause. Apparently it's fine in Microsoft SQL Server, but apparently MySQL doesn't like it. But it looks like one thing you might be able to do is maybe something like that. Error in your SQL syntax. Okay. Or maybe let's try that. Okay. Doesn't like that either. So what if instead of doing an inner query like this, what if I just You do something like that. Maybe. Apparently in MS SQL, you're supposed to put the table you're deleting from. AD and more clause. Can you name it like that? An alias. Table person. Unknown table person in multi-delete. Do you have to use the alias for this? It's supposed to go P for update in front clause. It doesn't like when I have person here. I'm just going to try removing the alias from person at least, and then we can change all of these to person. Can't specify target table person for update in from clause. All right, I'm really quickly going to bring back the query I had before, the full SQL one. 1 second. So I'm going to try. It looks like maybe if I wrap this around another select statement. Something like that. Okay. That apparently works. All right, there you go. So most of that problem is just me figuring out how to make the query work in MySQL, which I have less experience with than MS SQL. So this one is faster than average, and it uses no RAM. So a quick explanation on this. So we're going to delete from the person table where the ID is in this. So we're getting, basically, that's very simple. It's going to delete every single ID that this query returns. So this query is actually where the important stuff happens. So this is just that outer query that I needed to make because of the way MySQL works. So the inner query here. So you're going to select the ID from the person table joining back on itself where the IDs don't match and the emails do match, right? So you're finding, this is going to, with this table as an example, that in itself would return a query where you have this ID in email and then this ID in email. They'd all be in one record because they have a different ID but the same email. And then you're filtering. So actually, that query would return 2 records for this example. It would return one record where you have this as column 1 and 2, and then this is column 3 and 4. And then you would also return a record where this is column 1 and 2, and this is column 3 and 4. But now we're going to filter where the PID, the ID of the originating table is not the minimum ID for that email. So that would take our table without the where clause where we had this and then this in the same record, and then we had another record where it was this and then this, and it would filter out the first record because the ID would be equal to the minimum. And so we just return the ID of 3 to delete from there. All right, so I hope that helped you guys out. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.